When you picture an American police car, you probably think Crown Victoria, maybe a Dodge Charger. But buried in the history of American law enforcement are patrol cars so rare that even most car enthusiasts have never heard of them. A turbocharged Buick the FBI used to chase down criminals, a checker taxi that was secretly an undercover cop, and a Dodge Viper seized from a guy doing 127 in a 35 zone. These are 7 police cars that almost nobody knows existed. Let's get into it. Number 7. The 1955 Buick Century Model 68. This one's special because the car itself never reached the public, not as a limited edition, not as a special order. It flat out did not exist in any Buick dealer showroom in America. Here's what happened. Buick took the lightest, cheapest body they made, the 2-door special sedan, and dropped in the much larger Century's 322 cubic inch nailhead 5.8, producing 236 horsepower. Then they bolted on oversized drum brakes borrowed from the massive Roadmaster. That specific combination of body, engine, and brakes never appeared in a single Buick catalog. You couldn't walk into a dealership and order one no matter how much money you had. The California Highway Patrol ordered exactly 270 of them. Half got Dynaflow automatic transmissions, and the other half came with 3-speed manuals. For 1955, this thing was fast. 0 to 60 in under 10 seconds, and a top speed around 115 miles per hour from a car that weighed 3,800 pounds. But here's the detail that makes this car legendary, beyond just the spec sheet. CHP loaned their actual Model 68s to the television series Highway Patrol, starring Broderick Crawford. His famous catchphrase 10-4 entered the American vocabulary because of that show, and every single patrol car viewers saw on screen was a real CHP Buick. The show's call sign 2150 belonged to the actual CHP commissioner. Today, not a single confirmed original CHP Model 68 has been documented as surviving. The Maisto Toy Company once sent an engineer to photograph a restored example, and every 1/24 scale CHP Buick model you've ever seen traces back to that one car, a ghost that became a toy. But if you think a car that was never sold to civilians is rare, wait until you hear about the next one, because this company barely survived long enough to build it. Number 6. The Studebaker Marshall. By the early 1960s, Studebaker ran on fumes. They knew the end was coming. But before they shut the doors for good, they made one last ambitious push, and it was aimed directly at American police departments. The Marshall line launched in 1961 on the compact Lark platform, and Studebaker offered 3 tiers. The City Marshall came with a humble 170 cubic inch 6-cylinder for town patrol. The Patrol Marshall stepped up to a 259 V8. And the crown jewel, the Pursuit Marshall, packed the R1 jet thrust 289 V8, producing 240 horsepower with standard roll bars and heavy-duty suspension. The brochure got even wilder. Studebaker advertised availability of the R2 Paxton supercharged engine, putting out roughly 289 horsepower, plus optional disc brakes. Whether any supercharged Marshalls actually rolled off the line remains one of those beautiful unanswered questions in automotive history. Total production sits at roughly 30 to 40 units. That's it. About 20 demonstration cars met different state specifications, and the Indiana State Police tested experimental units. South Bend's own police department naturally used their hometown Studebaker, but when Studebaker moved production to Hamilton, Ontario in 1964, American police fleet sales evaporated overnight. The company stopped building cars entirely by 1966. Surviving Marshalls are extraordinarily rare. One experimental unit originally built for Kentucky turned up in Toledo, Ohio, around the year 2000. The Studebaker National Museum in South Bend has displayed a Marshall in Indiana State Police livery. If you ever find one in a barn, you're looking at one of the rarest police vehicles ever manufactured in this country. Now, Studebaker built those Marshalls because they thought a smaller, nimble car could compete with the big Detroit sedans. When it came to raw speed on an open highway, nothing in the 1960s touched our next entry. Number 5. The 1969 Dodge Polara pursuit car. There's a speed record in police car history that stood for an almost unbelievable 37 years, and it belonged to this car. The 1969 Dodge Polara, equipped with the 440 Magnum V8, churning out 375 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque, hit 149.6 miles per hour at Chrysler's Chelsea Proving Grounds. That record for the fastest four-door police car in America didn't fall until the 2006 Dodge Charger barely edged past it at 150. CHP ordered 1,564 of them, and the cars earned their reputation honestly. 0 to 60 came in 6.3 seconds. The quarter mile fell in 14.3 seconds at 99 miles per hour. For a full-size four-door sedan in 1969, those are numbers that made criminals seriously reconsider their life choices. The earlier 1961 CHP Polara deserves its own spotlight. That car came as a California-only special order of about 1,230 units, featuring a 383 V8 breathing through a 413 camshaft. CHP's testing requirement was brutal. The car had to sustain 100 miles per hour for 1 solid hour in 100-degree desert heat. Truck specification brakes came standard because nothing else could handle the punishment. Today, only 4 running 1961 CHP Polaras are confirmed to exist. One of them appeared on Jay Leno's Garage. As for the later models, fewer than 5 1972 CHP Polaras survive out of roughly 1,100 built. One documented unit retired after just 20 months and 75,000 miles, sold at auction for $905. Decades later, that same car carried a listing price of $72,000. From $900 to $72,000. That's the kind of appreciation that makes collectors lose sleep. But speaking of losing sleep, the Alabama Highway Patrol had a car that gave every speeder on the interstate nightmares. And it came from the last manufacturer anyone expected. Number 4. The 1971 AMC Javelin 401. The single greatest underdog story in American police car history. In 1971, the Alabama Department of Public Safety had a budget problem. They simply could not afford the big Fords and Chevys that every other state highway patrol ordered. So a local AMC dealer in Montgomery donated a Javelin AMX with the 401 cubic inch V8 for field testing. The troopers took it out on patrol, and they discovered something incredible. Nobody could outrun them. Alabama ordered 71 Javelins in 1971 and another 61 or 62 in 1972, totaling roughly 132 cars. The 401 V8 carried an official rating of 255 horsepower net, but the real output ran closer to 330. Captain Robert Aplin's cruiser clocked 153 miles per hour on Alabama highways by radar. No pony car had ever served as a standard highway patrol vehicle before. Alabama beat CHP's famous Mustang program by a full 8 years. And the Javelin holds 2 records that have never been matched in Alabama state history. Not a single suspect ever outran one during a pursuit, and not a single trooper died behind the wheel of one in a wreck. Troopers supposedly told speeders, "If you can get away from me, I'll let you go without a ticket." Nobody ever collected. After a small modification to improve oil flow and a first-gear lockout to protect the drivetrain, not a single ADPS Javelin ever blew its engine in service. The cars ran hard, and they ran forever. Of the original 132, about 24 are known to survive today. 2 sit in Alabama museums, 1 at Talladega Superspeedway, and 1 at the Alabama State Police Museum. Restored examples have crossed $35,000 at Barrett-Jackson auctions. If you're enjoying these forgotten machines, hit subscribe. I dig into automotive history like this every week, and the next 3 entries on this list get even wilder. Now, the AMC Javelin proved that a smaller, lighter car could dominate highway patrol work. But what if you took that same philosophy and added a turbocharger? That's exactly what the FBI figured out in the late 1980s. Number 3. The 1987 Buick Grand National FBI Edition. The FBI isn't exactly known for flashy vehicles. For decades, their fleet amounted to a sea of boring sedans in forgettable colors. But in 1987, someone at the Bureau made a very interesting procurement decision. They bought a sizable fleet of Buick Grand Nationals. Now, if you know anything about the Grand National, you already understand why this matters. The intercooled 3.8-liter turbocharged V6 carried an official rating of 245 horsepower. But Buick sandbagged those numbers hard. Real dyno output ran closer to 300 horses, and the car turned the quarter mile in the high 13s. 0 to 60 came in roughly 4.6 seconds. That made it faster than the 1987 Corvette. Let me say that again. The FBI drove around in sedans that could outrun America's flagship sports car. It gets better. Buick reportedly removed the computer-controlled speed limiter that normally capped the Grand National at 124 miles per hour, giving agents full access to whatever the car could actually do on an open road. The all-black exterior already made the Grand National one of the most menacing-looking vehicles in America. Imagine seeing one in your rearview mirror with a federal agent behind the wheel. The only real limitation came from the two-door body. You can't exactly transport prisoners or haul surveillance equipment in a Buick coupe, but for straight pursuit work and high-speed federal operations, this car functioned as a weapon. Very few details about the FBI's specific use of these cars have been declassified, which honestly only adds to the legend. If you've got one of these in your garage, you might be sitting on a piece of federal law enforcement history that the government would rather you didn't know about. Speaking of cars that looked intimidating, the next entry on our list packed even more horsepower. But its time in service turned so disastrous that one of the biggest police departments in the country wanted nothing to do with it after just 12 months. Number 2. The 1967 Oldsmobile Delmont 88 Apprehender. For one single year, Oldsmobile pulled off something remarkable. They stole the California Highway Patrol contract away from Chrysler, who had dominated CHP's fleet for over a decade. The B07 Apprehender Highway Patrol package put 1,428 Oldsmobiles on California freeways in 1967. Under the hood sat the 425 cubic inch V8, producing 375 horsepower through a forged steel crankshaft built to survive sustained high-speed pursuit. The suspension setup bordered on violent. Oldsmobile stiffened the front coils 67% over civilian specifications. The rears got it even worse, 108% stiffer than stock. At 80 miles per hour, this car could hit a ditch during a chase without breaking apart. And here's the fact that will make muscle car fans sit up straight. The legendary Oldsmobile 442's suspension actually derived from the B01 police package. And the later W33 police engine option shared the same motor as the iconic W3442 engine. A cop car Delta 88 carried the same guts as one of the most coveted muscle cars ever bolted together in Lansing, Michigan. But CHP ultimately despised these cars. The brakes couldn't handle pursuit driving, the front fenders crumpled against push bars during traffic stops, and the seatbelt systems proved unfamiliar and unreliable. After just one model year, Dodge won the contract back and held it for 11 of the next 12 years. The Apprehender became a one-year wonder, and surviving examples are extremely rare. One turned up in a field in Southern California around the year 2000, needing a complete frame-off restoration. Sometimes, though, the rarest police car isn't one that failed on the job. Sometimes it's one that never made it to the job in the first place. And that brings us to the most ambitious, most expensive, and most heartbreaking entry on this entire list. Number 1. The Carbon Motors E7. This car should have changed everything. Not a modified civilian sedan with a light bar bolted on top. Not a repurposed family car with upgraded brakes. The Carbon Motors E7 came designed from the ground up, from scratch, exclusively for law enforcement. The first purpose-built American police car since the industry began. Founded in 2003 by former police officer Stacey Dean Stevens and ex-Ford executive William Santana Lee, Carbon Motors envisioned a patrol car that actually worked the way cops needed it to. BMW supplied the powertrain, a 3-liter turbo diesel, producing 300 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 came in 6.5 seconds with a governed top speed of 155 miles per hour. and projected fuel economy beat any gasoline police cruiser on the market by 40%. But the features really set it apart. NIJ Level 3, a ballistic armor lined the doors and dashboard. Suicide doors on the rear compartment made loading handcuffed suspects easier, while a hosable interior with drain plugs simplified cleaning. Built-in biological and chemical hazard detection came standard. A 75-mile-per-hour rear impact wouldn't kill it, and license plate recognition cameras sat integrated right into the body panels. This wasn't a police car. It was a rolling fortress designed by people who had actually done the job. Over 1,000 police departments across the country expressed serious interest. BMW committed to building 240,000 diesel engines for the production run. Everything moved forward. Then the Department of Energy denied Carbon Motors' loan application. Without that funding, the entire operation collapsed. The company burned through roughly $600 million in development and went bankrupt in 2013. Not a single E7 ever reached a police department. The sole working prototype eventually sold at auction, a $600 million dream reduced to a curiosity on a flatbed truck. It remains the most expensive failure in police vehicle history. And it's a reminder that sometimes the rarest car isn't rare because people forgot about it. It's rare because it never got the chance to exist. Every car on this list tells a story about a moment when somebody looked at what police were driving and said, "We can do better than that." Sometimes it worked, like the AMC Javelin that nobody ever outran. Sometimes it failed spectacularly, like the Oldsmobile that CHP couldn't wait to get rid of. And sometimes it arrived decades ahead of its time, like the Carbon Motors E7 that could have redefined what a patrol car even means. These machines represent an era when police departments took real chances on real engineering, when a highway patrol agency in Alabama would hand a trooper the keys to a muscle car and say, "Go catch somebody." We're not likely to see that kind of experimentation again. If you want to see more forgotten automotive history like this, click the video on screen right now. And if you made it to the end, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.